Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on 10 reasons why this is the best time to become an insolvency professional by transition. Today, as guest speaker, we have Mr. Ashish Makhija, who has joined us from USA. Welcome, sir.
Thank
As
you.
you may be aware, friends, Transition is at the forefront for providing online training programs for insolvency professionals and others. It also provides online classes for aspirants of limited insolvency examination. You would also be aware that Transition is the first and the only company to offer online practice exams with the chance to review answers for limited insolvency examination and valuation examination. This has helped many in shaping their careers. Transition is also an ace publisher with many publications, one of which has become the bestseller, which is the analysis of cases for limited insolvency examination by Ashish Makhija. Now, before I introduce our guest speaker today, let me inform you all with some rules that we all have to follow during this webinar. During the webinar, please keep your microphones muted to have a better experience. The questions, if any, will be taken up after the presentation. It is recommended that all of you attend the webinar from quiet environment. It is also advised that you may use headphones or earphones for the webinar for better audibility. It is advisable to close all other applications while attending the webinar. In case anyone gets disconnected in between, they can click on the link and join again. I now introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Ashish Makhija. Mr. Ashish Makhija bears top credentials in the subject of insolvency and bankruptcy law and corporate law, amongst others. He has served as the standing counsel for the official liquidator attached to High Court of Delhi. He is also an insolvency professional. He is a leading practitioner in the field of insolvency, corporate laws, and commercial litigation. He is a World Bank trained corporate trainer. He is a renowned faculty and resource person for several professional institutes. He has spoken extensively on the subject of insolvency, bankruptcy, and corporate law. He has also served as a member of monitoring group of ICSI Insolvency Professionals. He has also served as a member of the Board of Advisors for Amity International Journal of Judicial Sciences, Amity Law School. He has authored 14 books on the subject of insolvency law and corporate law. His book, Analysis of Cases for Limited Insolvency Examination, 4th edition published by Bloomsbury, and Transition, is one of the top sellers, which is primarily meant for the aspirants of limited insolvency examination. He has also authored IBC Case Digest, published by Bloomsbury, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of India, published by Nexus, which is a comprehensive section-wise commentary on IBC, amongst others. With this, I would request Mr. Ashish Makhija to take us through the presentation and guide the participants as to why it is necessary for us to become an insolvency professional now.
Okay, thank you, Anurag. And first of all, a very good evening to all the participants. And I'm so delighted that everyone is here and willing to become an insolvency professional. Well, friends, I first of all, I believe and I pray that everyone is safe because of this COVID pandemic. I think we had a lot of scares and the number of cases which are rising in India, because I'm in US. Of course, the US is the topmost in the COVID pandemic cases, but definitely I'm seeing that in India also the cases are increasing, and since we are now in the position of unlock 1.0, so I pray that everyone stays safe, stays healthy. And now, friends, let me not waste any time and take you to certain presentation where I'll be telling you that why it is the best time. Of course, any time is the best time to become insolvency professional, but why? Number one, you see, first of all, the question is which comes to our mind is, should I become an insolvency professional? That is first question. Then the second question is, you see, should I become the insolvency professional now? That is another second question, which is again needs to be answered. And then, of course, there are related questions that what kind of scope it offers us if I am more than 60 years or 70 years or less than 10 years of practice. What are the other areas? What is the eligibility criteria? And many questions would be coming to your mind. I'll try to answer as much as possible so that the doubts are clear. But mark my words, friends, and I'm saying it with full authority at my command. that this is the best time to become the insolvency professional, because many reasons are there, and I'll take you to that presentation. But that is the bottom line which I'm trying to emphasize. I have always encouraged the professionals and others to take up kind of an alternate career also. So let me share you the presentation. I'll be sharing my screen, which will be visible to all of you, and then I'll be taking up that presentation. Friends, let us, as Anurag has already mentioned, I'll be taking questions, you see, after I finish my presentation. So I'll request everyone, and we can unmute also some those people who want to ask voice questions. Otherwise, the chat box would be available. But I would suggest that let us not write questions at this moment, because it distracts me also and maybe other participants at this stage. So when I finish the presentation, many of your questions would might be answered. If they are not, definitely I'll welcome the questions in the chat box and what are the clarifications are there. So friends, let me start straight away with this particular webinar on that why should we do this insolvency professional today and not in any other time. Friends, these are the three questions which definitely come to my mind or come to our mind, that why should I become insolvency professional, and that too now. Then what is the eligibility criteria and how I can pass that exam. So these are the three important things: why, what, and how, which I will try to answer. And of course, certain other related questions, which I'll be able to answer them. Now, let us first of all understand that what is the role of an insolvency professional. Supposing you pass the limited insolvency examination, and you are registered as an insolvency professional, what role you are going to play? You see, that also makes a choice that whether I should pursue this insolvency profession or not. Number one, IPs, my dear friends, are playing an extremely crucial role because of the companies which are coming under IBC. And IBC, by IBC, I mean Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. I think most of you would be aware. The IPs are they are playing a crucial role. They are the central element in the whole game process, the whole process of IBC. And they acquire a position of huge responsibility, because a company which is kind of potentially insolvent, or which commits a default, as the IBC says, then an IP is appointed to take over the management of the company, and he or she runs the company. So therefore, it is a huge responsible position. The public trust is reposed. Now look at the situation. A real estate company with 40,000 home buyers, or maybe even 2,000 home buyers, comes into insolvency. Now you are in charge as an IP. Now you are basically carrying the trust of all the people or the stakeholders. So not only home buyers, it is all stakeholders, maybe the creditors, maybe even government as looking at you as an IP, that we want this company to be turned around. This is very, very important, friends. And managing, you are going to manage corporates in financial distress. And you can look at the news items that companies like SR Steel, which is having a turnover of 40,000 crores or 50,000 crore turnover companies, asset base is also more than 40,000 crores. Now you have to manage such kind of companies which are in financial distress. So there, some companies may be small, some companies may be big. And what you are trying to do as an IP is you are helping them recover, overcome their financial distress, and then bring them back on the track so that the employment does not suffer, the economy does not suffer. That is what is the role of IP, which is very, very important. So I would say at the end that you are actually helping to save key economic assets of the country, not only the company alone, but they are the economic assets. It's not easy to build steel plants, my dear friends. They cannot be built in a day. Now, if a company goes into winding up or liquidation, all assets are destroyed. So therefore, as an IP, it is my huge responsibility that I must play that kind of a role. So I think this profession is very exciting to that extent. Well, it carries a lot of risks. It carries a lot of stress. There's no doubt about it. It will be a stressful assignment. But if we have that kind of an infrastructure, that kind of a mind frame, we are able to take those risks. I think this is the profession which you are looking at. Now, the big question is why? Why should I become an insolvency professional? So this is very crucial question. Let me take you to few of the reasons, that 10 reasons which I've listed out. Number one, friends, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016, which we fondly call as Code or IBC. Now, it is touching all businesses and persons. This IBC consolidates the insolvency and bankruptcy provisions for the corporate world, for the limited liability partnerships, for the partnership firms, and also individuals. Part 3, which is there for individuals, of course, it has been notified in parts right now. It is not fully notified, but it is going to come. So it is going to touch. And no professional is untouched. Like supposing you are a chartered accountant. You are into the process of auditing. Now, if you have to complete the audit of a company which is under CIRP, CIRP, my dear friends, here stands for Corporate Insolvency Resolution Process. This process starts when the company commits a default and the process can be initiated. So if the company is under CIRP, now how you have to conduct an audit, I think an auditor needs to know what is IBC. Similarly, a cost accountant is also rendering a lot of services, maybe it's doing some filings on behalf of the companies also. And the same thing the company secretary is also doing, because they are also conducting secretarial audits and filings and so many other things. And I must share you one example. One of the companies was under CIRP. Now, the one RP was appointed and we were the legal advisors. One day, the resolution professional, the IPU, was appointed to manage the affairs. Now, he noted that a change in director's form has been filed with the MCS, the registrar of companies, on MCS website, and signed by one of the company secretaries. Now, during CIRP process, whether such a document can be filed without the permission of the resolution professional or not, that is a big question. The answer is it cannot be done, and it should not have been done. Now, that company secretary who signed probably was not aware of the IBC provisions. And now that person is in great difficulty, because now a case has started against that person also, that you are trying to change the management of the company where it could not have been done. So the knowledge of IBC is very important for all professionals, friends. If you are an advocate, you may be fighting a lot of cases, and even you are professional like CA, cost accountant, and company secretary, you can also represent some people and appear in the NCLT, NCLT, the tribunals where they are. So it offers a great opportunity. Whether you are a corporate advisor, whether you are in a corporate management, or whether you are belonging to any other profession, maybe you are an architect, maybe you are a management professional, you have done MBA, I think everyone is touched, because if the company is affected, you are affected, because you are actually dealing with this. So IBC, my dear friends, touches all other acts also, and all spheres of life. So this is extremely important for us. So this is the first reason, that is why we should have a greater knowledge of IBC. And by becoming an IP, of course, you will get a deeper insight into this. The second is, I always say that knowledge is never wasted. And in fact, I remember in one or two of my online sessions, I think Mr. Vipin was there. And of course, I believe he's also here right now. He is an architect. Now, as an architect, he wants to become an insolvency professional. Well, friends, this is what is important, and knowledge is never wasted. So 2 plus 2 here, it actually makes not 4, but makes 5. It's a value addition, my dear friends. An extra knowledge of IBC provisions. Whether you want to pursue your career as an IP or not, that is, leave apart that side. But will you not be interested in knowing something? And gives you a credibility, gives you, you see, you can write insolvency professional in your business card. Will it not give you more credibility because of the knowledge also? You'll be able to discuss certain things, because whether what kind of professional you are, at the end of the day, you are actually touching upon businesses and companies. And all businesses and companies are going to be affected by IBC. So this is nothing but a greater value addition which is there. The third reason, nowadays, we are living in very tough times today. COVID pandemic, lockdown 1 to lockdown 4. We were all sitting idle, looking at attending a lot of free webinars, and also using the facility of Netflix and Amazon Prime, and watching movies or watching serials from, from first episode to the last episode. Well, we are supposed to do that. We must do that also for our entertainment. But I think with such kind of a time at our hand, possessing that kind of a knowledge which is available and which we can study at home. Friends, let me ask you this question. If a normal operation begins, I mean, normal functioning of your office begins, which is not going to happen in maybe next 2 or 3 months again. I don't see that. But supposing it begins, you will leave for your office and come back at say 8, 9 or 10 in the night. Will you have time to study? The answer is no. So here you have sufficient time at hand. My dear friends, make use of this time. Things are definitely not normal, but I always say that this is a silver lining to a dark cloud. So that we can gain some substantive knowledge. We can have some substantive, professional kind of attainment which is there. So it is extremely important that we must utilize this kind of a time which is available to us. And then, don't you think that acquiring a new skill is hugely satisfying? Well, I definitely feel confident, and updation is always a must. Even if you are a professional, like any professional, if you don't update yourself, do you think you will be able to render services to your clients? So continuous education is the key, my dear friends. This is one of the another reasons that whether you want to become an IP or not, you need to know what is IBC. Well, if I have to study for IBC, why not, study from the focused point of view that I will also become an insolvency professional. Whether I want to practice or not as IP or not, that's a separate issue altogether. If you are willing to practice, of course, it can give you a very good alternative career also. And then people do ask me that what kind of opportunities, the once I become an insolvency professional, what kind of opportunities are with me. Well, friends, once a company comes into, say, CIRP process, which I told you, corporate insolvency resolution process, then you will be appointed, an IP is appointed as an interim resolution professional. Later on, he can become as a resolution professional. And if the CIRP process is not successful, it fails, then the person can be appointed, the company comes into liquidation and a person can be appointed as a liquidator. And in case of individuals, again, one can be appointed as a resolution professional, and if the resolution process fails, then the person is declared as bankrupt. The person IP will be appointed as bankruptcy trustee to manage the affairs of to manage the assets of the bankrupt. And then we have also seen that SEBI is now appointing administrator, and they are actually appointing insolvency professionals as administrators to manage. And they are large companies. They are very, very large companies. Those companies which have actually, like Sahara. Sahara has come out with so much of, taken so much of money from the public. Now, if that company, SEBI passes an order, an IP can be appointed as an administrator. So these are the various opportunities which are there. Besides that, my dear friends, one can act as a consultant. If a company comes into, say, IBC provisions, now it requires some resolution applicant to come and file a resolution plan, how to resolve that insolvency. Now, to prepare that resolution plan, the promoters, the not the existing promoters, but the others, now they are not aware how to prepare the plan. You can help them in preparing those plans. So you can, you will be able to help them only if you have good knowledge of IBC. And if you have, to say that you are an insolvency professional, well, it will give you, very good credibility. So you can help the COC members, you can help the promoters, you can also act as a forensic auditor also, because you have to get to know you have to have the knowledge of the provisions, why a forensic audit is required under IBC. So friends, it offers huge opportunities. This is also one of the important reasons that GIS can give you an alternative career. Today, at times of the difficult times, I have seen, and I must share it with you, friends, a lot of resumes are landing on my email nowadays. That look, I was the CFO of the company for last 15 years. I was acting. So today, because of the lockdown, the employment is not there. So I need to look at if you have some opportunity. Well, friends, if you are an IP, then you can look at as from an alternative career point of view. So employments are at stake, no doubt about it. And even in practice, those people are in practice. If the businesses are not functioning, businesses are going down, obviously the professionals also get affected. Now here there is a career where you are a master of your own game. That means you are not dependent on anyone else. Of course, you have to have some of your infrastructure. That is one of the things. But this is another part, is that you will always be in the midst of thick of things. Well, what I am trying to say by this is that you will be the person that people will be looking at you, that you are going to turn around. I must share with you some incidents, like in particularly in real estate companies. In one of our cases, there are 2,000 home buyers are there, and the resolution professional, they look upon the resolution professional. They are approaching him on a daily basis that, sir, इसका कुछ करा दीजिए, हमारे पैसे वापस आ जाए, हमारे को फ्लैट मिल जाए. Well, what can be more satisfying than, you see, to help the people in distress? And of course, my dear friends, this profession is remunerative. I'm not saying that your present profession or present career is not remunerative, but definitely remuneration is something which we always look at it. It is definitely remunerative. Let me share with you one example. If a company comes into liquidation with an asset base of only 10 crores, I'm not going on 100 crores or whatever it is, only 10 crores. Do you know, as a liquidator, how much fees you will get? Supposing you complete the liquidation in 6 months, just 6 months. I'm not saying more than 6 months is not a, very long period. But it is also not a short period, in the sense that 10 crore property, if there is one property of the company which can be sold, you can get your fees. You will be getting 38 lakhs as a fees just by completing a liquidation of 10 crores. Imagine if it goes to 100 crores, what will be the fees? So therefore, my dear friends, it is very important that we also should look at from this angle that it is remunerative. Of course, it comes with a responsibility. I'm not denying that it does not come with a responsibility. Every power comes with a responsibility, and wherever risk and rewards are always related. So if there is a reward, obviously there will be a risk. But being professionals, I think we are ready, because if we create a safety net around us, then I think we need not be bothered about those kind of things, that the risks are there. So we should protect ourselves from the risk, but this becomes very remunerating. The other reason is, friends, today, what has been notified by the central government is only the one of the important parts, that is part number 2 of IBC, which talks about corporate insolvency and liquidation. What is left out is the individual insolvency. Of course, with COVID pandemic, the delays have happened. Otherwise, the government was actually in a mood to notify part 3, which is relates to individual insolvency. But because of this scare, this has been delayed a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, today we have got around 3,000 or 3,200 insolvency professionals. But with individual insolvency coming in, my dear friends, the cases are bound to increase. And there will be a time when there will be a shortage of insolvency professionals. And many of the insolvency professionals are quite senior. And out of 3,200, let me share with you, 40% are not practicing. So actual in practice are hardly 1,600 or 1,500. 50% to 60% are in practice right now. And in any case, over a period of time, when the cases are also going to increase, then there will be a shortage of insolvency professionals. In fact, in one of the webinars which I did with one of the officials of the IBBI, I was told that India may require 25,000 insolvency professionals in times to come. Well, I'm not sure about that kind of a figure, but it looks to be a very large figure. So comparing it with the present state, like 3,000 as against 25,000, yes, then we can say that there is going to be a shortage of insolvency professionals. So therefore, the opportunities are going to be ample. The another reason is that most of the professionals, of course, I'm not talking about those who are architects or those who are coming from other streams. That may be difficult for them, but for slightly difficult for them. I'm not saying it is impossible, but for the people like chartered accountants, company secretaries, cost accountants, the syllabus is known. Have you not studied Companies Act? Have you not read Limited Liability Partnership Act? Have you not touched upon allied laws like Indian Contract Act, Negotiable Instrument Act, or maybe Arbitration Act also? So, my dear friends, you are actually really aware about these acts. The only question is you have to refresh your knowledge. So, maximum things are already done. So, the syllabus is pretty known. Of course, you will have to have a deep understanding of IBC, which is a new thing. But then These are the syllabus which is there, which you have already gone through at one point or the other. So this is extremely important, friends. One of the reasons is that it becomes easier for us because we really understand that what is happening. The ninth reason, and which is a very, very important reason, and I must tell you, the syllabus is also limited. The name of the examination is Limited Insolvency Examination. But my dear friends, I must tell you that even the syllabus is limited. Why I'm saying so? Friends, let us understand this because this is very important. The syllabus is generally revised by IBBI every 9 months to 1 year. The last updation, my dear friends, happened with effect from 1st July 2019. It was anticipated that from 1st April 2020 or maybe March, they will come out with a notification circular saying that we are revising the syllabus. Unfortunately, because of the lockdown, or fortunately, I would say fortunately for us, I mean, I'm seeing the, you see, silver lining in a dark cloud. Of course, I can't say that we are fortunate to have COVID pandemic, but I'm saying that as a consequence of it, what happened was that IBBI did not, you see, change its syllabus. And if it has not changed the syllabus, that means the syllabus which was existing as on 1st July 2019 is you will have to pass the exam according to that. Now, why I'm saying that syllabus is limited? Friends, after 1st July 2019, many new amendments have come in the law. You do not have to study. Your cutoff date for the examination will be up to 30th June 2019. Provisions in the code, rules and regulations. And mark my words, friends, after 1st July 2019, there have been number of rules and regulations which have been notified. So the syllabus, which is quite limited, it has become very, very advanced, very, very much voluminous. And then, my dear friends, part 3, which remains unnotified so far, it is likely to be notified. And in fact, it has been notified in respect of personal guarantors to corporate debtors. So the moment personal guarantors to corporate debtors, part 3 was notified, 4 sets of rules and regulations were also notified along with that. But if you take the examination now, which is based on the syllabus as on 1st July 2019, you don't have to study whatever amendments have taken place on or after 1st July 2019. This is a cutoff date. So the syllabus is pretty limited to that instance. Number 2, if I have to study part 3, which is only a theoretical part, because there are no rules, no regulations. The other part is that there are no case laws in this. Otherwise, what will happen, my dear friends, is some case laws will also keep on coming. And if the case laws come, you will have to study case laws. And right now, you will have to study 59 case laws, including 17 of High Court, 17 of Supreme Court, 17 of NCLT, NCLAT, and 8 of High Courts. But if the syllabus is changed, definitely the things are going to look up, in the sense that the cases will also go up, because I know a lot of Supreme Court judgments have come, and no, none of the Supreme Court judgment is less than 100 to 150 pages. So friends, this is a very, very important reason for us to pass the limited insolvency examination now, because the syllabus is limited as compared to what is going to happen in future. And I must share this with you also, that IBBI, if it has to change the syllabus, it will actually give 3 months time to the participants, to the candidates, before it notifies the change. So even if it issues a notification today, say on 3rd of June, it cannot change the syllabus before, you see, 3rd of September. So you still get 3 months time. In any case, today the no notification has come. Maybe it may come in times to come, but then again, you will get 3 months from that particular time. So you still have time for doing that. So please let us do this. And the other part is the exam pattern is also likely to undergo a change. Initially, when the exam started, it was much easier. It was like a cakewalk. Probably everyone who was appearing was passing the exam. And it has become tougher over a period of time. Now the questions are more analytical rather than theoretical. So the deep understanding of concepts is very, very important. And then it is becoming tougher. In fact, in valuation, some people have already valuers, registered valuers. you would have seen that that exam is also on a similar pattern as that of limited insolvency. But now there is a proposal that instead of that kind of an exam, well, let us make it as a full-time, training for the valuers for 1 year or 2 year. Now imagine if that is all, that is the case which is made in case of limited insolvency also, insolvency professional also, then you will have to undergo and spend a lot of time there. So today, while practicing as your own or maybe in employment, you can still pass the exam. So therefore, friends, make use of this opportunity. The exam pattern is also simple. The syllabus is also limited, and we have sufficient time at our hand right now. So, and this exam may become tougher. It is becoming tougher day by day, no doubt about it. A lot of new cases are coming, and the questions are also becoming more analytical than theoretical. So these are few reasons which I thought I must share with you, that why you should become an insolvency professional now. Now, I'll also take up a few aspects relating to that. What are the eligibility requirements of becoming the, insolvency professional? Well, number one, you have to pass the first of the qualifications are that one has to pass the limited insolvency. He or she must have passed limited insolvency examination. So first you have to cross this bridge. You have to pass that LIE. Then once you have passed the examination, then you will be completing a pre-registration education course of 50 hours, which is a 50-hour training, which is conducted by IPS, Insolvency Professional Agencies, which are also registered with IPS. But that is later on. So first you need to cross that first bridge. And who can register or become an insolvency professional is, you must have 10 years as a chartered accountant, company secretary, CMA or advocate, or 15 years in management with bachelor's degree. So any kind of a degree, but it should be a bachelor degree with 15 years in management experience. So those people are entitled to be registered as insolvency professionals. But for taking the examination, my dear friends, because supposing some people do ask me, like, I have completed 9 years. So should I wait up to the 10th year or should I pass the exam now? Friends, I always suggest them that start preparing it, and you can take the examination, because for taking the limited insolvency examination, there is no condition of 10 years or 15 years. You can pass that exam anytime. But the only difficulty is that you cannot register as an IP unless you complete that 10-year or 15-year threshold. But you can take the exam. So, and once you take the exam, your mark sheet that you're passing, if you have passed that exam, that mark sheet will be valid for a period of 1 year. That means, supposing you are already in the 9th year, say 9 year and 1 month, you pass the exam, say in the next month. So you get 1 year to register yourself. So by that time, you will cross the bridge of 10 years. So therefore, it is important that you should start planning early in your career. For the people who are having less than 9 years or 10 years of experience, well, friends, uh, this will not be a time for you to pass the limited insolvency exam, because if you pass the exam, you will still not be able to register. For youngsters, of course, those who have not attained the age of 28 years, the young friends, I don't know how many of the young friends are here. If you are a professional, then you can actually join graduate insolvency program, GIP program, which is a full-time residential program. But that is a 2-year program. So 1 year is the studies and 1 year is the training part, which is there. But if you have already completed 10 years or you are about to complete 10 years, then this limited insolvency examination is for you. So these are the things which are there. Of course, eligibility criteria also says that person should not be a minor, he should be a resident in India, and then experience and qualifications. Of course, I have mentioned that these are the things which are there. And the last one it says is he must be a fit and proper person. A fit and proper person generally means that there should not be any, supposing I was in employment and some disciplinary case is going on against me, so then the IPBI does not consider that person to be a fit and proper person. So those kind of nominal things are there. So this is one of the things, that these are the eligibility criteria. Let's look at the limited insolvency examination. That what is the limited insolvency examination? We call it as lie, okay? But I'm telling you the truth, okay? So it is an MCQ based exam, which is known as multiple choice questions. So every question will have, generally speaking, 4 answers. Sometimes there are 2 answers also, like true and false also questions are there. But generally speaking, there will be 4 options which will be given. But well, friends, just like you see KBC, you don't get any lifeline here. So you will have to pick the right answer from there, from the multiple choice questions, A, B, C, D. It looks to be easy, but it is not that easy, because you see the questions are pretty confusing. 89 questions are asked. The examination is of 89 questions, but the marks are 100. And how that division is done, 78 questions are of 1 mark each. They carry a weightage of 1 mark. And then 11 questions carry a weightage of 2 marks each. And these 11 questions are basically relating to 5 questions out of this are from the case laws, and 6 questions are from the case studies from the CIRP process, that is part 2. So 11 questions of 2 marks and 78 questions of 1 mark, that makes 100 marks of the total examination. And then 60% is the pass percentage. You have to score minimum 60. If you score 59.75, 59.5, well, no one passes that exam. And I must share this with you that the pass percentage, according to my information, is around 17 to 20%. So 17 to 20% of the people who take the exam, they are able to pass the exam. And so therefore, it is very important that before you go for this exam, you must prepare it well. This is extremely important. You must also bear in mind that there is negative marking. That is 25% for each wrong answer is deducted. 25% for each wrong answer. So if it is a 1 mark question, if your answer is wrong, then 0.25 will be deducted. If it is a 2 mark question, half mark will be deducted. So therefore, the one of the tips which I always give the aspirants is that if you do not know the answer, leave that question. Do not attempt or take a gamble, because a negative marking have brought people, I've seen people scoring 59.75, 59.5, 59.25, and so and so. So therefore, it is extremely important, friends, that if we do not know the answer, we must leave that question. And out of 89 questions, I can give you the statistics. You can do all your own mathematics also, friends. You can easily leave 15 to 20 questions and still pass the exam. So this is very, very important. And this exam can be taken any number of times. There is no restriction. Every time you book a slot, of course, at this stage, the slots are little limited because under lockdown they were closed. Now they have restarted it, but not in all areas. They are not, they're gradually starting it in few areas. But the slots are still limited because of social distancing norm. Earlier, supposing a center had, you had to go to a center to take the exam, but you have to book a slot on IBBI's website. This can be taken any number of times, but you can book 1 slot at a time. So you book today, you are not able to pass, then you can come back and book another one. It is not that you can book 5 slots at a time. That is not possible. But it can be taken any number of times. Every time you will have to pay a fee of 1,500 rupees. So therefore, I always say that you must prepare yourself well rather than wasting time, money, and also losing your confidence. Because if you go to an exam, you do not pass it, the confidence actually, comes down by 50%. But of course, failure should not be taken as that discouragement. One should always keep on attempting. And it's a center-based online exam. You go to a center, but then you will be given a computer, and then you will have to click the answers out of A, B, C, D. You have to check one of the answers. It is an online exam, but you have to go to a center. It is not that you can take the exam by sitting at your home. So this is one of the important things which is there. And I've told you, your cutoff date is 1st July 2019 for all the, you can say, the laws which are there, the rules or regulations, whether they are allied laws, whether they are IBC, everything is up to 1st July 2019, which is a great thing, friends, which is a great thing. And I'm emphasizing this. Visually, if I have to explain you, the syllabus is right now, it is this much. If you don't pass exam today, the syllabus is going to become this much. So please, this is my humble request to everyone that please opt for this and try to become an insolvency professional. I think it will be very, very satisfying for you. Well, I must share a few of the things. because Transition is coming out with the online, is regularly conducting online classes, and I can see few of our friends who have already attended those online classes. Well, I'm fortunate to be associated with Transition, and these classes I do take for 7 days. So these are the classes which are there. You can go on the Transition's website. In online training, you can click for classes for limited insolvency examination. There you will get all the details of how to register and how it is to be done. In fact, I understand that Transition people are also there. And if you have any questions about registrations or doing classes for the next batch, maybe you can post your questions in the chat box and they will be able to answer you. But what are the key takeaways of these classes? Like, you see, some people do ask me, why should I attend classes? Why can't I study on my own? Well, friends, you can always study on your own. There's no doubt about it. But the fact is that if somebody comes and tells you that, look, these are the provisions, if he clarifies your concept, so is it not better? You will always be in a better position to understand. So it is a 21-hour intensive training, 7 days into 3 hours per day, which are in the evening time. You can always spend time from there, spare your time. So 7 days, 21 hours, and sometimes it extends beyond 3 hours also. So practically it becomes 25 hours. So it is a very intensive training. And then concept clarity. The focus is, my focus in these classes is that I must make your concepts clear. Not only the terms which are there, but how it is to be interpreted. Because if you are clear about the concepts, friends, you will be able to answer questions, particularly the analytical questions, the case studies questions, or even case law questions. So exclusive insight is given. And then, of course, as in those webinars, you have the facility to ask questions, and through a chat box, those facilities are there. So you get a kind of a virtual training experience. And then a lot of questions in limited insolvency come from the memorization. You have to memorize. Like a question, you see, comes, a schedule number 3 relates to amendment in which act? Then the names of 4 acts are mentioned, because there are 11 schedules which are attached to it. So schedule number 3 relates to amendment in which act? Companies Act, Income Tax Act, Partnership Act, or Limited Liability Partnership. Well, if you don't memorize, then it becomes difficult. So I generally also offer certain tips to memorize those provisions so that you are in a better position to take the examination. And then tips to pass limited insolvency examination on way during these 7 days. I keep on giving a lot of tips that how you have to strategize your passing this exam, how to memorize, how to learn. So many tips are given, so many charts are also shared during those proceedings. And then, of course, you get this book, which has been written by me. I'm very fortunate that this has become one of the best sellers, Analysis of Cases for Limited Insolvency Examination. This only focuses on the case laws. I told you there are 59 case laws, and each case law on an average runs into 40 pages. So you have to study 2,400 pages, but you don't have to do that. The maximum job has been done by me in this book. So this book gives you the analysis of all 59 cases in a very, very summary form. And then it has been designed in a way that if you do it fully well, you will become an expert on the case laws. So this is one of the books which has become a bestseller. You get free book, you see, once you register. You don't have to buy that book separately. And then there is a Transition Insolvency Practice Exam book which has also come, which contains you see 10 exams. So those exams are also there, and you will get a practice. And then Transition, this is one of the unique things. Transition has actually come out with a mirror image of IBBI exam, almost a mirror image, which is an online exam. You can sit at your home. Once you have completely studied, you can take the exam and see whether you're able to pass that or not. Absolutely same pattern, same, I would say it's the mirror image of the exam. But in IBBI, when you take the exam, my dear friends, once you come back, it only tells you whether you have passed or failed. It does not tell you that whether you have been able to, which question you answered wrongly and what was the right answer of the wrong question, which you answered wrongly. So these are the things which you are not aware. But in Transition exams, you get a full chance to review your answers. So I always call it as a backward learning. Because somebody is telling you, you answered this wrongly. Yes, my dear friend, this was a right answer. So if that is the thing, friends, then you actually do a very good backward learning in that. So this is extremely important. Well, the next batch, my dear friends, must share this with you. It starts from 10th June 2020. You can go to transition.com, or Mr. Naveen Khanna, probably, I believe he is also here in this session. You can contact him at this phone number, 8800161008, for more details if you wish to do that. This is what I've given you, a broad perspective of why you should become an insolvency professional. Of course, as far as the tips are concerned, I've got a separate video which is also uploaded on Transition's website, and on YouTube it is also there. And I keep on doing a lot of other webinars also on this. But now what I'll do is I'll just stop and give some chance I'll try to answer questions if you have any questions which are there. Okay, so let's go by. Anurag, can you help me in the finding out the questions and answering them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
One of the questions which is asked, sir, what is the duration of IP, and do we need books, and how to go about it?
Well, yes, I think that's a good question. Jyoti is asking this question. Jyoti, I can answer this, that you do not need any book. Let me tell you very frankly, you do not need. If you go to Amazon, you will find 20 books on limited insolvency examination. But please mark my words, you do not need even a single book. Just read from bare acts. What you need to read is from bare acts, like IBC, bare act, Companies Act, or whatever allied laws are there. You just study from there, because theoretical questions are coming only from bare acts. You don't require any book for that purposes. The only book which I recommend is the analysis of cases, because for case laws it is very difficult to study 2,400 pages. So get that book, maybe the Transitions other practice exam book, and the bare acts which are there, you are done with. So this is very, very important. Okay. And if you want these kind of books which are there, you can find it on Amazon also, the Transition books, or you can go on the Transition website. But what I recommend is, if you can come on an online classes platform, I think it will give you a very, very good insight, because I start from the basics and then take you to the expert, you see this thing. Okay, yes, Anurag, any other?
Yes, sir. Sir, how do you see the way of becoming an IP via GIP route?
Okay, Akshit, it is only meant for the youngsters. If you have not reached the age of 28 years, only Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs is offering the GIP. Well, I will, if you are willing to, take that insolvency professional as a career, which is a very, very good opportunity. And if you are young, you are able to fall within that criteria, I think you must go for it, because this is a fantastic program. It will give you a very deep analysis and insight into this, and you will be standing at par with the other people which is there. Okay. Anurag, can you unmute Nidhi, because Nidhi Gupta has raised a hand. So can we unmute her too, so that she can ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Or maybe we can take up other questions also. Yeah, Santoshji is also there. Yes, Santoshji. Yeah, yes, please ask your question.
Yeah, sir, what is the duration of the exam?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. Duration of the exam is 2 hours. And Santoshji, I must tell you, 2 hours are good enough. 120 minutes, 89 questions. If we look at the statistics of the transition, exams, people are finishing the exam in maximum of 60 to 65 to 70 minutes. Okay. So this 120 hours is too good a time. I'm telling you, you will, when you also appear for the exam, you will have 30 minutes spare minimum. But go slowly. That's what my advice is. You read the question carefully. Don't be in a hurry, because what we do is we read only a first part and start answering the question. Understand that question, because the questions are framed in negative language. Questions are also framed in double negative. That means question will be negative and answer will be in a negative form. So if you don't read it carefully, my dear friend, then you are lost. So time is sufficient. Don't worry on that account.
Sir,
if you have any other question?
So one more question, sorry. Sir, once you become a professional, insolvency professional, so is this certificate is recognized by the government?
Yes, what you do is you have to enroll yourself with the Insolvency Professional Agency. That means enrollment means you become a member of an IPA.
Okay.
There are 3 IPAs which are there, and you are registered with IBBI. So you get a certificate that you are now registered. And in fact, IBBI also issues a certificate saying that to whomsoever it may concern. That supposing you become an RP tomorrow, you can go to, supposing the promoter is not handing over factory to you, you can go to the police station with that letter and the police is going to assist you. Of course, I mean, you become an extended arm of the the government. You are an officer of the court or the tribunals. So that is the status which you achieve.
Okay. So IBB is under government or what? IBBA, the board which you're saying.
Okay. Okay. Let me explain this. For any professional, for any profession, regulating a profession, you need a regulator. Yeah. IBBI, which stands for Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, is a regulator. Okay. Just like SEBI is a regulator which regulates listed companies, so similarly IBBI is a regulator which is a government body. It is controlled by the government only, but it is an autonomous body in the sense that it has got its own governing council, which organizes, which regulates IPAs, which regulates IPs, which also regulates information utilities. So it's a government body which is there. Okay. So let us, Mr. Ayadurai, give me some moments, sir. I'll come back to you. Just give me a moment. And okay. Yes, Anurag, can you help me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Nidhi has asked a question that experience as a CA, as COP holder, or in experience or both. Okay, good question, Nidhi. What is required is, though they have used the word experience, you do not require a COP holder. If you are in employment, even that is good enough. If you are running your own company, like supposing you were the MD of your own family company, it is also possible. So it is basically kind of a membership. You have to be a member of a, a CA institute or a company secretary or an advocate. That is all. So they do not require any experience certificate except those people who are in employment. So if you are in employment, of course, then they require that. Okay.
Sir,
yes, Nidhi.
So someone is having an experience partly as in job or partly as COP holder. What?
That is good enough. If you are a chartered accountant, then it is all right. But if you are only applying on the basis of, say, bachelor degree, right, 15 years, then you need to show them that you were in a managerial capacity. Then an experience as a clerk or executive doesn't matter. It is basically a managerial capacity of 15. But for chartered accountants, company secretaries, 10-year membership is good enough. COP or employment is not required. I hope I'm clear on this.
Okay? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ishant is asking, sir, I'm in 9 years and if I pass the exam, then when can I take pre-registration education after completing? Yes, Ishant, I think if you have completed 9 years, you are the best candidate in this sense. In the sense that 9 years means now you will, supposing you pass the exam in next 2-3 months. So it will be 9 months, 9 years and 3 months, isn't it? So you get 1 year to register yourself with the IBBI. That means by the time you complete 10 years, you will be able to join for the pre-registration education course. So this is what is the right time. I think you're thinking at the right time, right? This time. Okay, what is the cost of taking guidance? Of course, I think guidance cost is, of course, I think someone from Tranzission will be able to answer. Is employment considered as experience? Yes, sir, it is considered. How do we speak to Tranzission? I think Mr. Naveen Khanna's number is already displayed. I will repeat it for you, 8800161008. Talk to him. He'll be able to, help you. If you have already purchased a book, maybe he'll be able to adjust that amount also, price or whatever it is. Then Shiva Agarwal is asking, after passing a registration as IP, present market is so limited. Presently, many registered IPs are not having related work. Well, Shiv Agarwal ji, I think this is a concern which I am also, I'm getting a lot of questions on this concern. But mark my words, friends, there is no dearth of work for good people. And I'm telling you with complete, authority at my command. Because you see, the point is we have always been dependent as a chartered accountant, other thing, on the audits and other things. Like the bank audits, RBI should order it. See, you have your own value as a consultant, as other things which you can render professional services. I think there is no dearth of work which is there. I have not found the good people not getting those kind of work. So it may be temporary because of the COVID and other things, but I think the normal things have to come, isn't it? Vasant is asking, is there a textbook from IBBI for the exam? Vasant, there is no textbook. They have only given a syllabus. And you don't need a book also, as I mentioned. You just need bare acts and also that case analysis book. Do we need to leave your current profession to practice IRP for this can be does not done the part-time? Okay. Harishji, you do not have to leave your current profession. If you are practicing as a CA, company secretary, cost accountant, or a advocate, you can continue your profession and you can continue your practice as an IP also. You don't have to leave that. But if you are in employment, and I'm telling you all these things, those who are in employment, you cannot practice an IP if you are in employment. So you will have to leave that employment, only then you can become an IP. So this is for those people. But for those who are in practice as a CA, CS or CMA or advocate, you can do it together. But then the question is, if a big case comes, whether you can continue both of the things together or not. But of course, that decision you can take later on. So that's not today. Mr. Ayadura is asking, has IBBI's exam started? Yes, sir. They have started opening the slots, but the slots are little limited. In areas also they are limited, like in Bangalore, they opened it up for some time. Some people were able to book that slot, some people were not. So just keep on tracking your centers near you, and I think you will be able to do that, sir. It's only because a lot of people are waiting the door to be opened. So and everyone is wanting that I should take that exam very fast. Okay. And one more thing, friends, I can tell everyone is that people ask me how much time I should devote on studies. Well, friends, I always say as a thumb rule, 100 hours, minimum 100 hours. So if you are able to devote say 4 hours or 6 hours daily, 4 hours daily, 25 days, 6 hours daily, 16 to 17 days, but minimum 100 hours. Timing of online course, yes, Sushilji, timings are very comfortable, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And that is there. And as a facility, but these are online classes, please understand, as a facility, you get those recordings for 15 days. So 15 days time, you can go back and revise your things, but not more than 15 days because the space is limited. I believe the transition is not able to offer more than 15 days. But yes, supposing you miss a part of it because of your commitment somewhere, you can come back and see that recording for next 15 days. So that is also the facility which is available. Thanks, Akshat, for your kind words. Mr. Nitin Kher is asking, as an investment banker, I'm used to dealing with growth companies. I cannot overcome the feeling that why should I get involved with distress? Yes, I know. Well, you have been always dealing with the growth prosperity, but now you see we are in the time of distress. But Mr. Nitin, if you are dealing with a distress company and you are taking that to a growth chart, I think this will be more satisfying. So your experience will help these companies come out of the distress. Okay. Shiv Agarwal is asking, after passing a registration as an IP present market. Okay, I think this we have already answered. Sir, it is not limited. It may be for the time being, but don't worry. It is going to look up, sir. But let's be positive. How many hours of preparation? I think, Amar, I have already mentioned 100 hours minimum, right? So you can plan it like this. Today, you start, go on the IBBS website, register yourself there, and then try to book a slot. Say when the slots open up, because they are opening up gradually, they closed it down for some time because of the lockdown. And then you can book, say, July end, assuming. So July end, now you know that July end you're going to appear. So you get 2 months time. So I think that should be a good enough time. Okay. Is there a risk of getting stuck with one case? Well, Nitin, I would say the risk is very, very minimal, in the sense that, like supposing a case of JP, which is going on for last 2 years, the guy is stuck, but he's actually not stuck. He's getting 80 lakhs per month as a fee also. So I will be very happy to get stuck with such a case, isn't it? So generally you don't get stuck because you are supposed to do it in a time bound manner. Okay. Fresher qualified company secretary can enroll for IBC course. Sarojini, no, freshly qualified company secretary cannot, unless you have other experience. But yes, if you are not attained the age of 28, graduate insolvency program, go on the IICA website, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. You will find the details of that course there. So it is meant for you. Okay. How do you get jobs in this field? Yes, Vasant, this is a good question. Jobs are, you see, if you are into practice, friends, how do you get assignments? Well, you get assignments because of your networking. So you network, you start networking. So you through your network, through your good value which you have provided to your clients, people are going to come. So you get a lot of things. And once you are empaneled with IBBI, that empanelment list is also sent to NCLTs, the tribunals, and they're first in, first out, they also give you cases. So I know many people who have got very good cases from NCLT also. Is there any requirement of training or registration for taking the exam? Piyush Karmakarji, the requirement of training is not there. Yes, of course, you have to, for taking the exam, you will have to register on IBBI's website by using your Aadhaar card and all, and then self-study or maybe an online training, and then you pass the exam. Then you will have to undergo a 50-hour training, which is mandatory, and then you will be registered as an IP. Okay. So even the 50-hour training can be done after completing 10 years. Yes, that is there, because the 50-hour training is to be done only once you complete 10 years. That is a correct thing. How many hours of preparation? I think I've already answered this. Fresher, I've already answered. Is the limitation period now going on for CIRP or it is over? Well, Vipinji, as far as the limitation period is concerned, because the courts have not opened fully, not NCLT, they are only taking urgent matters. So that limitation period is still going on as per the Supreme Court judgment. 15-year experience can be with more than one employer. Yes, sir. It can be with a combination of these things. This is a good question Mr. Ayadurai is asking. It can be with more than one employer. There is definitely, it can be done. Okay, so friends, if somebody wants to be unmuted, I think I've covered almost all the questions. Yes, Mr. Ayadurai is wanting to ask a question. Anurag, can you help?
Yes, sir. He's unmuted, sir.
Sir, good evening to you.
Yes, sir.
It's not a false flattery, my heartfelt thanks. I have attended your session. You have definitely oriented me and put me on the track. And I'm pretty confident. I have almost covered 80% of the syllabus. Not only liquidation, voluntary winding up, all the bare acts, case laws. I am reasonably thorough. Corona, thanks to Corona lockdown, more than 10 hours a day I could focus on. Thanks to that. But sir, even then, in life, this Kali Yuga, the dil mange more. You always tend to demand more. I may write more than once, twice, but your reputation is at stake because you told that all your students will clear in the very first attempt. And I want you to kindly ensure one small out of the way request, if it is possible. If it is possible, even on a payment basis. You have done extraordinarily great justification to the subject and amazing correlation of sections here and there, which I think it is impossible, humanly impossible for a man of my caliber to imagine. It's beyond my thought process, and that helps me a lot in orienting. The regulations and rules, which is carrying an equal weightage of 20 marks, just like the main IBC code. There, if you could, I'm sure you will be able to. If at all anybody does it, it could be only you and no one else. उस पे थोड़ा आपको मार्गदर्शन, you need to guide and focus even on an extra specific class. I would like to once again join the class formally and not honorably. And because I am definitely interested, I am 67. I'm only interested in passing the exam without fail. I mean, that's my only innate desire. With that desire, I am appealing to you and requesting you, if it is possible, kindly revert and react. If you could.
Okay. I think Mr. Ayadurai, I think we always take, you see, the words of wisdom which come from you. They are definitely helpful, and your suggestion is well taken, and we will definitely consider that. So don't worry on that account. In fact, your suggestion in the next classes itself will try to correlate the regulations also. But what happens is, the idea was, you see, we started with an idea by saying that if the concepts are clear, then the reading, of course, is to be self-study. That was the idea. But anyway, your suggestion is well taken. We'll definitely look into this. Thank you so much for being a part of those classes. And I must share with the participant that has been one of the wonderful participants, very proactive, asking very good questions, and has been a very great support to those classes also. And look at you can get an inspiration from him. He is 67 years and willing to pass the exam. And friends, you guys are there, so you must look at this thing, that we can get an inspiration from him. Okay, Gautam is asking, I think we can take the last question. So Bare Acts can be buy or to download, which should be okay. Well, Gautam, it's your choice. if you ask me, I don't know whether Mr. Ayadurai agrees with me or not. I actually love reading from the books rather than online downloading, because you see, in books you can underline them, you can highlight them, you can write your notes in the margins. I think that gives you a lot of, because you will have to spoil those bare acts. I'm telling you, for this exam, you will have to make short notes. And if you make short notes along with your bare act, you will be spoiling that book. So I would love to have those books rather than the downloading. But if you are very good with your iPads and tablets where you can download and mark it up, well, I think then that is it. You can download, but download it from genuine websites. Don't download from you see the wakil.com or advocate.com or whatever sites are there. Go to IBBI's website, go to indiacode.nic.in and download those laws from there. Genuine ones. Okay. Yes, hard copies is what I also actually go for it. So that is there. So Anurag, since there are no more questions and I think we have run out of time also, while wishing all participants a very good luck. Thank you for attending these sessions. If you need my help anytime, you can get in touch with me. And otherwise also, if you want to attend classes, Mr. Naveen Khanna is there to support you. Go to the Tranzission websites. I look forward to seeing you on those online classes. Thank you so much, everyone. And stay safe, stay healthy, and wishing you best of luck to everyone. Okay. The next batch, Mr. Dwarkanath is asking, it is starting from 10th of June. 10th of June, from 10th to 16th of June. So 7 days continuously classes are there. Okay. So go to the Transitions website. There you go to the Limited Insolvency Examination online classes. There you will find all the details, and then registration details are also mentioned there. Thank you, Mr. Ayadurai, for being here, and stay safe. Anurag, do you want to say some closing words?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the webinar. It was an enlightening as well as encouraging webinar for all of us. And now I believe all of us are more determined to become an insolvency professional after attending this webinar, sir. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Thank you for attending the webinar. It was a pleasure for us to have all of you here with us. I wish all of you all the very best for your goal of becoming an insolvency professional. And I wish all of you great success. Remember, friends, your goal is to become an insolvency professional, and our goal at Tranzission is to help you achieve your goal of becoming an insolvency professional. So thank you. Take care. Stay safe.